In this video, we're going to be discussing burglar alarms. We're going to talk about what they do, how they work, what kind of equipment goes onto a burglar alarm, and by the end of this video, you should have a good idea about what kind is right for you. Essentially, a burglar alarm is to protect your property from, you guessed it, burglars or unwanted intruders. How this system works is usually they have a control panel and multiple devices off that control panel that all communicate with each other, looking to detect intrusion at the earliest point possible. When it comes to intruder detection, there are multiple types of devices to detect that. So let's run through a few, show you the most common ones, how they operate, and how they might suit your needs. To start with, what we've got here is called an opening contact, otherwise known as a door contact or a window contact. When they're placed on doors, they're often used as an entrance route, meaning when they open, it signals to the system that someone's coming in and it's time to unset the system, usually with a delay of about 30 seconds before the alarm triggers to allow the user to go to the keypad and unset the system. Users may also unset the system with things like app control and key fobs. What we have up in that corner is a motion sensor, often referred to as a PIR, which stands for passive infrared. They protect rooms inside a house and they're looking essentially for infrared light, which is given off by humans in the form of heat. It's not visible to the human naked eye, but it is visible to the motion sensors. That's how they detect motion in a particular area. As time has progressed and they've got better, there now is pet-friendly motion sensors. But they can only do so much because animals still give off infrared heat, and the best ones usually work up until about 30 kilograms, meaning you can have a pet up to a weight of 30 kilograms and the sensor will know to ignore it. Beyond that point, they will still trigger because the sensor won't be able to determine whether it's a human or whether it's an animal. Problems you can have with pet-friendly sensors is the placement of the PIRs, which needs to be thought of in advance. For instance, if there was a cupboard right here underneath the sensor and a cat, for instance, could get right on top of the cupboard, even a pet-friendly sensor will still trigger because the cat will be covering the whole lens. So there are still some simple steps that you need to take into account when it comes down to pet-friendly motion sensors. How they actually work inside the motion sensors starts to get really weird, and even though I've been in the industry for so long, I struggle to articulate it. It even comes down genuinely to crystals inside the sensor, and it's a whole mess and something for another video when I can really structure it and put it together to try and make it more understandable. Another type of sensor is known as a shock sensor or a vibration sensor, and they are devices that sit usually on windows or doors and they're monitoring for vibration. This is now getting into the realm of perimeter protection, and what that means is if an intruder came up to that window and tried to smash the window in order to gain entry or tried to jimmy the window open, it would trigger the alarm before anyone gets inside. Essentially, when it comes down to burglar alarms, the earlier detection, the better. A lot of people don't know this, but you can also have fire detection linked onto your alarm system. This, for instance, here is a heat sensor as we're in a kitchen, so it's not smoke, otherwise it'd be going off every time I burnt the toast. And this is linked to my intruder alarm, which comes through personally for me on app control, so I'd know on my app if I was away, if there was a fire. My system's also monitored as well, but we'll go into that further down the line. So as systems have got more advanced, it's not just intruder detection that they do, they also go as far as smoke detection, fire detection, and now it's starting to get into the realm of smart home automation. But we'll go into the smart home stuff in another video. There are a few options you've got when it comes to setting your home or business security alarm. One of the main ones that has been used and tried and tested for a long time is the humble keypad. And essentially, you would just put your code into here, press yes to start the set, and it would start the exit tone of the alarm. There are several different ways of doing it. Some are set up as single button setting and different features, but the premise of each of them is still the same. Use to set and unset your security alarm. Another crucial piece of your security system is your external sounder. Now, this is actually your first line of defense. Essentially, it's saying to potential burglars that your system has a working modern security alarm. So of all the pieces, this is the one that really shouldn't be neglected, because when you go around and have a look at other properties with an old defunct security bell box on their wall, burglars will often think that there's nothing that's actually working and they'll potentially attempt to break in anyway. So make sure you have a modern, up-to-date external sounder on your security system. As security systems progress and get more and more advanced, in comes things like external motion protection. Now, I'm a big advocate of this. I've done a video on external motion sensors and I'll link it in the video in the description at the end of the video so you can take a look if you want to and you can actually see it in action. And essentially what this is doing is looking out to where it's facing and stopping intruders getting anywhere near your property without the alarm going off. This will work up to say 8, 9, 10 meters. And yes, it's animal friendly, so animals aren't going to be tripping it off all the time. Don't worry. It's just looking for humans, and it's very, very good and very reliable. This one here is actually part of my own alarm system, the Guardfather security system. Been having a lot of testing on this, and now I've finally got a product that I'm happy with as the finished piece, and I'm looking forward to providing this for people for DIY alarm security. I will leave the link to the waiting list in the bio in case you're interested and want to sign up. You will get a discount code upon launch, which is in about 6 weeks from this video, so we're looking around about mid-June 2025. If we're past that point, hopefully, we've already launched. Some key things to consider when it comes to installing your external motion sensor is you want it looking out into an open, clear space, such as a back garden. You don't want to have things in front of it like a big tree or anything like that, because you want to make sure as much as you can protect it from any kinds of false alarms. When it's set up correctly, it's extremely reliable. So how do all these devices work together? Well, they all talk back to a central consumer unit. This essentially is the brains of the system. This is my one here. I have a Texacom Premier Elite wired system in my home. I put this in when I was actually renovating the property, so I was able to put all the cables into place when it was still a mess, a building site essentially. Now, this isn't common anymore. People often don't really have wired systems in their homes when they're putting a new system in, because if the cables aren't in place, it can be extremely intrusive. People are more going towards a wireless security system with just a central hub, and all the devices off that are just wireless devices that all talk back on a radio frequency going back to the alarm panel. But in this case, let's open it up and show you what's inside. Now, as you can see, there's quite a lot going on here with my own security system, as there should be with me being a security engineer. But this is the brains of my security system. We have a backup battery sitting there, so if the mains power goes down to the property, that will kick in and keep the alarm going. I have expanders on here for wired and wireless devices. Underneath there is where the wireless expander is. Here we have what's called a smart com, which is essentially talking out to the network, meaning I can use the system for app control as well. And here is what's called a dual com. Now, a dual com is something that's used for monitored alarm systems. When my alarm system triggers, it sends a signal to an alarm receiving center, and potentially they will then call the emergency services such as the police or the fire brigade if it's deemed necessary. This isn't very common on systems. It's unusual for a home security system to have this, but we do have some customers who have this in there. It's more common, a dual com setup, on a commercial basis when we're doing vulnerable, high-end, valuable commercial units with a lot of equipment inside, where if someone was to steal from them, it could be a major loss in terms of monetary value. Now I thought I'd give you a demo of the app control from the Guardfather security system. There I've unset the system on the disarm button, and I go into the devices here to see the device list. And after this I can go into and see the group stages, and then I can go to messages and go through the messages, which are notifications of the system, alarms, alerts, things like that. If I go onto here, I can do things like arm the system as I'm doing there, and the system goes to arm and you get push notifications. This is great if you just need that extra bit of flexibility and need to be able to see what's happening on the alarm. If you're away from home or anything like that, it just gives you a lot more control. So how are wireless security systems different? Well, I've got you a few examples here. These are all pieces of the Guardfather security system. So to run through, you will have a control panel, a backup battery, an area to plug in for your mains connection, an Ethernet port, and a SIM port here for backup internet supply in case your Wi-Fi goes down. Now, a misconception often about wireless security systems is people think that they are networked based, meaning if the internet goes down to your property, the alarm doesn't work anymore. That's not the case. They actually signal out to these detectors on a radio frequency. So if your Wi-Fi goes down at your house or your business, your alarm should still work perfectly. Sometimes people worry about jamming situations, and that's where people will try and jam an alarm and then break in, blocking the radio frequency channel so that they can then go into that area without being picked up. It's not really a problem anymore, because every half-decent system has anti-jamming capabilities, meaning that when the devices are talking back to the control panel, if they don't receive their signal in a specific amount of time, it will trigger the alarm. To go through some aspects, here is a wireless keypad, and you would mount that back plate to the wall, and then your wireless keypad has its batteries just in there, would slot in, and there you go. And from here, you can do everything that you'd be able to do on a normal wired keypad. You have things like key fobs, where you can set, unset, part set, and panic alarm the system. Meaning if you press the SOS alert, it will send out a critical alert to all other app users who are set up on your system. A door contact works in the same way as a wired door contact as we saw before. Usually for entry and exit alerts, this will open up on the door, so it's an opening sensor, start the entrance tone, and you can unset the alarm by your app, by your key fob, or by a keypad. They can also be set up to be put on windows, so if someone tries to open a window in an area of the house where they shouldn't be, it can trigger the alarm. Here we have a wireless motion sensor. A key difference here, again, there's no wires, and often on wireless motion sensors, you won't see the LED light up every single time you go past the sensor. That's because they shut down when the system is disarmed to save battery life. It's a clever feature, but sometimes people think that their wireless security system isn't working because they're walking past the sensor and they're not seeing it light up. Don't worry, you can put it into a walk test and test it that way, but just because the LED isn't lighting up on a wireless system doesn't mean it's not working. So let's open this sensor up so we can take a look inside. And here we have the inner workings of the motion sensor. And that one there, that is the battery. And the battery should last around 2 to 3 years on a good security system with wireless detection. Now, the benefit of a wireless security system for a lot of users is the fact of how easy it is to install and that it's not intrusive to the house. You're not chasing out walls and getting cables into place. So it makes it a very attractive option. The negative, some may say, is the fact that you have to maintain it, meaning every couple of years, you'll have to replace batteries. But realistically, to do that means you might have to take half an hour out of your day every couple of years. Overall, people tend to think it's a worthwhile trade-off. The thing about wireless systems as well is it gives you an increased flexibility, meaning if you want to move sensors in time or move things around, as houses change and they develop, then you can do. You can simply take it down and move it to a different area. So now you should have a good idea about burglar alarms, how they work, how different types work, and what the main reason is for their installation. Essentially, to protect your home, to protect your business, and to keep you and your family secure. There are many different options out there. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. A rule of thumb is, if it's cheap, it's probably no good. If you buy cheap, you buy twice. It's just the way it is. Try and get a good quality security system. And if you're a bit unsure about doing it yourself with a DIY system, then I'd recommend getting an NSI accredited installer or the accreditation that your country uses and getting them to come out, do a quote, and get them to install a full security system for you where they can do the whole setup and then they can maintain it for the years after. But a DIY security system is a great option if you feel like you're up to the task of installing it yourself, which as things progress is getting easier and easier. If there is anything in particular that you think I've missed out that you'd like to know more on, just let me know. If you'd like to see a full install of a very smart home security system with amazing features, check out this video here for an Ajax smart home install. And if you'd like to know more about that external motion sensor that we talked about earlier, click this video link here and I'll tell you all about it. See you in the next one.